Story 1. Am I the asshole for refusing to get separate health insurance for my teenager? I've been married to my husband for 8 years, and we've built a life together with our 2 kids, plus my 16-year-old son from a previous relationship. His dad's out of the picture, barely sending child support unless it's yanked from his taxes. My husband works for the state, which means we get solid health insurance through his job, coverage that includes all of us, my son included. We split all our bills based on income, and since I earn 58% of our household total, I cover 58% of everything, including reimbursing my husband for most of the insurance cost. So when he suggested something wild last night, I was floored. It all started over a parenting disagreement. My husband's stricter than I am, and my son and he have never really clicked. We agreed early on that he'd leave disciplining my son to me, but yesterday I gave my son his PS5 back 4 days early, and my husband lost it. He felt I undermined the rules and things escalated fast. In the heat of the argument, he declared he wanted nothing to do with my son and demanded I get separate health insurance for him through my job. I was stunned. Our family plan through his work covers everyone, and adding or removing my son doesn't change the cost. It's the same flat rate. My job's insurance, though, it's outrageously expensive. What he pays monthly, I'd be shelling out bi-weekly. It felt like a petty power move. I pushed back, telling him no way. As long as we're married, my son stays on his plan. It's what makes sense financially and for our family. He doubled down, saying I was being unreasonable, but I think he's the one acting out of spite. My son's not some outsider. He's part of our household. The argument left me questioning everything. I get that he's frustrated, but using insurance as a weapon feels like crossing a line. I've always handled my son's discipline, and I pay my share. More than my share, really. Why should my kid lose out because of a parenting spat? It's not like my husband's footing some extra bill for him. The tension's still thick. I'm trying to keep the peace for our other kids, but this feels like a hill to die on. My son's health coverage shouldn't be a bargaining chip. I keep replaying the fight, wondering if I'm being too stubborn. Maybe I should have just nodded and de-escalated, but the idea of caving to something so unfair makes my blood boil. I love my husband, but this move feels more about control than anything else. I'm not asking him to parent my son, just to keep things as they are. Is that really too much? I've always tried to make our blended family work, balancing everyone's needs. But now I'm stuck, feeling like I'm defending my son's place in this family. My husband's acting like my son's a burden, which hurts more than I expected. I don't want to tear our family apart over this, but I can't let my son be singled out. So, am I being unreasonable, or is my husband the one out of line here? Am I the asshole for refusing to get separate health insurance for my teenager? Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law nobody likes her? This past weekend, my sister-in-law, let's call her Jenna, came over with my brother-in-law and their kid. I've been with my husband for nearly 20 years, and his family has never warmed to Jenna. She lives with my brother-in-law and his parents, who've been itching to kick her out for years but haven't, mostly because she and my brother-in-law share a child. Jenna's always been a bit much. She's got a reputation for being dramatic and frankly exhausting to deal with. Jenna wanted to visit to clear her mind after her grandmother's passing. My husband agreed, mostly so we could see his brother and our nephew. From the moment she walked in, though, it was chaos. She strutted into my house like she owned it, immediately criticizing my sweet little Shih Tzu for greeting her. I reminded her not to feed him human food. She once gave him melted cheese because her grandma's dog ate it. I brushed it off and focused on making lunch for everyone. Taquitos and homemade salsa. Simple, right? Nope. Jenna complained it was too foreign for her taste. I bit my tongue, thinking, okay, fine, I'll keep it basic for dinner. So for supper, I went with chicken nuggets and fries. Safe, kid-friendly, easy for the 10 people I was feeding, including my daughter's friend who was over. But Jenna wasn't done. She tagged along when I ran a quick errand to the store, whining the entire time about how long I was taking to pick out olive oil. Then she questioned why I was buying certain ingredients. I explained I was planning Greek food for the next day, my comfort food, tied to my heritage. She launched into a rant about my Greek background, and I let it slide, barely holding my cool. Back home, while I'm prepping dinner, Jenna starts moping about her grandmother, then shifts to complaining about how she's always yelling at her kid and my brother-in-law. She's helping herself to my alcohol, not even asking, and I'm at my limit. That's when I snapped. I told her, nobody in this family likes you. Everyone just tolerates you because you're with my brother-in-law and have a kid together. You're a terrible sister-in-law. You've ignored us for years, only showing up when it suits you. You're always broke, buying junk off Marketplace, begging for loans, and acting like you're owed something. You're not disabled, you're just lazy and pathetic. The room went silent. My brother-in-law didn't say a word, but later he pulled me aside and said I was right about her. My husband, though, wasn't thrilled. He called me out, saying I went too far by telling her nobody likes her. My in-laws, on the other hand, thought I was spot on. Jenna and her family left soon after, and the tension's been lingering ever since. I keep replaying it, wondering if I could have handled it differently. I was fed up, sure, but maybe unloading like that in front of everyone wasn't the best move. Still, part of me feels like she needed to hear the truth after years of her nonsense. I've dealt with Jenna's antics for over a decade, and this wasn't the first time she's pushed my buttons. But now I'm questioning if I let my frustration get the better of me. Was I too harsh, or was it time someone called her out? Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law nobody likes her? Would I be the asshole for not including my sister in my trust fund because her husband's a jerk? I'm in my 50s, a gay man with a net worth of about $4 million, mostly tied up in investments. No kids, so I'm planning ahead for my estate. My idea is to split it between my two sisters, who I'm close with, through a trust fund. They're both married, and while I get along with one brother-in-law, the other, let's call him Greg, is a total nightmare. He's a snide, controlling prick who's always got something nasty to say to me. Worse, he's a control freak with my sister, and it's painful to watch. I don't want a cent of my money benefiting him if I pass, but I still want to take care of my sister. So, I'm wrestling with a tough call. I've got two options. First, I could cut my sister and Greg out of the estate entirely. It's harsh, but it guarantees he gets nothing. My other sister would get everything, which feels unfair to the sister I'm close to, but it's clean. The second option is trickier. Set up a trust with specific conditions for her. Instead of getting half my estate outright, her share would sit in an investment trust for 5 years. During that time, she'd get annual dividends and interest, but only into an account in her name alone, no joint accounts where Greg could meddle. After 5 years, she'd get the full amount, again, only into an account solely in her name. This setup gives her a window to divorce him if she wants, without me forcing it. Legally, I can't make divorce a condition, but I can structure things to empower her. I've thought about this a lot. My sister's stuck in a marriage where she doesn't have much control. Greg's the type to dominate every decision, and I worry he'd blow through her inheritance or use it to tighten his grip. By setting up the trust this way, I'm giving her options. 5 years is enough time to sort out a divorce if she chooses, or at least secure her finances independently. I'm not trying to punish her. She's great, and we've always had a good relationship. But I can't stomach the idea of Greg profiting from my life's work. Still, I'm torn. Cutting her out feels like betraying our bond, like I'm judging her for staying with him. The trust option feels fairer, but it's complicated, and I worry she might feel insulted, like I'm meddling in her marriage. I've seen how Greg talks down to her, and I know she's not happy, but she hasn't left him yet. Maybe she never will. Should I just trust her to handle her share, even if it means Greg gets half? Or is it my right to protect my money from someone I can't stand? I've worked hard for this, and the thought of him touching it makes me sick. I keep imagining her reaction when she hears about the trust conditions. Will she understand I'm trying to look out for her, or will she think I'm trying to control her life? My other sister's fine with either plan, but she's not the one dealing with a spouse like Greg. I just want to do right by both of them while keeping my estate out of the wrong hands. Would I be the asshole for setting... Am I the asshole for making my sick husband clean up his vomit? Life with 2 kids under 5 is already a circus, but the past few days have been next-level chaos. My husband's been down with a nasty stomach bug, vomiting, diarrhea, the works. I've been holding it together, managing the house, chasing after our toddlers, and playing nurse without a single complaint. It's exhausting, but I figured it's what you do when your partner's sick. That is, until this morning, when he pushed me to my limit. He was feeling a bit better and asked for toast, so I made it for him, hoping he could keep something down. While he's nibbling away on the couch, I'm in the kitchen, juggling breakfast for our kids, cutting fruit, pouring juice, the usual morning madness. Suddenly, I hear him gagging violently from the living room. He's been camped out there during this whole illness, so he had a trash can right next to him for exactly this reason. I yelled out, "Use the can or get to the bathroom." But no, he didn't listen. Instead, he projectile vomited all over the floor and splattered some on the couch. It was a mess, and I could smell it from the kitchen. Then, he has the nerve to shuffle into the kitchen, where I'm still feeding our kids, and casually says he's going to lie down in our bedroom so I can clean up his puke. I stopped dead in my tracks. Excuse me? This wasn't some surprise attack. He had plenty of warning and could have aimed for the trash can or bolted to the bathroom. I'd been cleaning up after him all weekend when the sickness caught him off guard, no problem. But this was preventable. So, I told him flat out, "No way, You made the mess, you clean it up. I wasn't about to add vomit janitor to my already overflowing list of tasks. He got all huffy, saying I was being heartless and lacked good bedside manner. Like I'm supposed to be Florence Nightingale while wrangling 2 kids in a house by myself. He sulked off, and later, he kept throwing little jabs my way, saying a good wife wouldn't punish him when he's sick. I held my ground, but part of me started to wonder if I was being too harsh. He was still unwell after all. Maybe I could have cleaned it up one more time and let it slide. But then I thought about how he didn't even try to contain the mess, knowing full well I was stretched thin. The day went on, and his snide comments didn't stop. I ended up showing him some online feedback I found where people backed me up saying he should have handled it. That finally shut him up, but the tension's still there. Turns out, he likely got food poisoning from some sketchy leftovers at his work's break room, something that sat out for nearly 24 hours. Thankfully, the kids and I are fine, but I'm still annoyed. I love him, but expecting me to clean up a mess he could have prevented feels unfair. I've been doing everything else. Can he take responsibility for this one thing? Now I'm second-guessing myself. Should I have just grabbed the mop and let it go to keep the peace? Or was it fair to make him deal with it, sick or not? Am I the asshole for making my sick husband clean up his vomit? Am I the asshole for not going to my twin's wedding? I'm a 24-year-old guy with an identical twin, and growing up in our small southern town wasn't always easy. I started coming out as gay in college about 5 years ago, and it's been a slow process, especially with family. Moving to DC in 2023 for school and work gave me the freedom to live authentically. That's where I met my boyfriend, who I've been with for 2 years. Introducing him to friends and family has been a careful dance, but I've done it when it felt safe. So when my twin's wedding came up, I thought I could finally bring him along as my +1. Last November, while visiting home for the holidays, I told my twin and his fiancé about my boyfriend. They seemed happy for me, and when wedding talk came up, they asked if I'd bring a date. I said yes, my boyfriend. My twin was already in bed, but his fiancé said, "There are pros and cons, but it's up to you." Since my twin always deferred to her on decisions, I took it as a green light. I didn't think I needed to double-check. My boyfriend and I booked flights, a hotel, with $300 worth of plans for the wedding. Fast forward 5 months, 3 weeks before the big day, I mentioned on a call with my twin that we were all set. His tone shifted instantly. "Oh, is your boyfriend actually coming?" he asked, like it was news to him. I reminded him of his fiancé's words, but he claimed she never gave permission and accused me of lying. Then he dropped the bomb. "We can't let your boyfriend come. We're worried about how Dad's side will react." I offered to call our dad right then to sort it out, but he dodged, saying he'd check with his fiancée. An hour later, no change. I was still invited, alone, expected to buy a matching groomsman suit, even though I wasn't in the wedding party, and smile like nothing was wrong. I was livid. I asked, "If I didn't invite your fiancé to my wedding, would you show up?" He couldn't answer and hung up after some heated words. Desperate to fix things, I came out to our dad, something I'd dreaded for years. To my shock, he was indifferent and even said uninviting my boyfriend was extreme. He offered to talk to the family, which I thought cleared the main hurdle. But weeks later, my twin called again, this time saying our friends would be weirded out by my boyfriend. The excuse had shifted. I told him, "If my boyfriend's not welcome, I'm not coming." He didn't budge. Then I learned the kicker. The fiancé admitted to my dad she'd initially okayed my boyfriend but changed her mind because of who would be there. She lied to my twin about it. Meanwhile, one of her bridesmaids, who's openly gay, brought her girlfriend, and apparently that was fine because she's not family. The double standard stung, so I skipped the wedding. My absence was noticed, guests texted me, and my mom had to keep explaining why I wasn't there. Instead of avoiding drama, I became the story. My relationship with my twin is now non-existent, and some family ties feel shaky. I keep wondering if I should have sucked it up and gone solo to keep the peace. Those family bonds shaped me, but showing up alone felt like betraying myself and my boyfriend. Was I wrong to stand my ground? Am I the asshole for not going to my twin's wedding? Am I the asshole for rage quitting after losing an election? I'm 28, female, and I've poured my heart into a volunteer organization for years. I'm one of the longest-standing members, clocking hundreds of hours in every corner of the group. Events, outreach, you name it. I've held small leadership roles across the board and even served as president of another organization, so I know my stuff. When I joined, the group was a mess, barely holding together. I worked my butt off with others to turn things around, creating a welcoming vibe that drew in tons of new members. These newcomers, though, have no clue how bad it used to be or how much work keeps it running smoothly now. Recently, I ran for president in our latest election. It was a packed race. 5 candidates, 4 of us with years of experience, carefully planning our campaigns for months, even years. Then there was Alex, a newbie who'd been around for just a few weeks, 0 experience, last-minute campaign, but a tight-knit friend group of other new members. Alex barely qualified to run, squeezing in by a few days. You can probably guess where this is headed. The election was neck and neck between me and Alex, and I lost by 1 vote. The rest of the elected board, all newbies from Alex's clique, none with any real experience. Then came the bombshell. After the results, we discovered a computer glitch had failed to count 9 or 10 votes, specifically from other leaders who worked closely with me. Every single one of those votes was for me. I'd actually won. My colleagues pushed to overturn the results, but the higher-ups refused, worried it'd look like favoritism. They told me to keep quiet and not tell anyone. I was gutted. All that work, all that time, and I was supposed to just swallow it. The fallout got worse. Because the new executive team, including Alex, has no clue what they're doing, people started pressuring me to take a lower leadership role just to babysit them and make sure the organization doesn't crash and burn. They wanted me to do the president's job without the title or the recognition. It felt like a slap in the face. After everything I'd given, they expected me to clean up their mess while smiling about it. I said no way. In fact, I dropped all my leadership roles and decided to step back completely this year. I'm done. Now, I'm getting heat from multiple people in the group. They're saying I don't care about the organization, that I'll be to blame if it falls apart. It's infuriating. I helped build this place from the ground up, and now I'm the bad guy for refusing to prop up an inexperienced team that only won because of a glitch? I'm not their unpaid consultant. Alex and their friends wanted the roles. Let them figure it out. I've given enough, and I'm tired of being taken for granted. Still, I can't shake the guilt. This organization means a lot to me, and I know how much work it takes to keep it going. What if it does fall apart without me? Part of me wonders if I'm being petty, letting my pride get in the way of helping out. But every time I think about stepping back in, I remember how they brushed off my win like it was nothing. Why should I keep carrying the load for people who don't even see my value? Am I the asshole for rage quitting and letting the new team fend for themselves?